everybody, Terrence Popp here, Redonkulous.com, with another episode from the Lair. And today we're doing some more airborne debacle talk, airborne jumps. Got a couple questions from some soldiers out there. Sergeant Popp, your stories about airborne school and jumping are pretty riveting, thank you. I'm not airborne qualified. Okay, well, you should probably do that then. But I fail to see how you can keep such a calm mind when you're trying to find out where you're going to land and keeping your cool in the air. All right, well, you haven't jumped. Usually, like the first 10 are the worst. You get really good at it after a while. You pretty much know within the first 15 seconds, like your chute will open, and maybe within 10 seconds, once you know your chute's open and everything's good to go, if you're going to have a good or a bad landing. Especially if you got noobs that are within 2 or 3 of you when you go out the door. You know, Murphy's a bitch and Karma's a motherfucker, and chances are that dumb idiot is going to wind up sucking your air, and you're gonna pogo stick into the ground or run off the top of his parachute, which I've seen several times, and it happened to me once when I was the newbie. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Because it's pretty sobering. When your chute opens, then you hear some guy swearing, and then you see his boots as he runs off the top, jumps off your parachute, and then turns around and flips you the bird and calls you a bunch of choice names. Listen, lower jumper has the right of way. I'm sorry I had to run on my chute. What can I say? Yeah, I mean, once you get used to it, and then... I mean, you can pretty much, especially if there's a little light out, and you can check out the terrain, and you can, check out your direction of drift, and you pretty much know in a general area where your carcass is going to slam into the earth. And if that area isn't good, you better make some modifications to your parachute to change your fate, because, yeah, you go in the water, or you go somewhere bad, or, yeah, you could wind up in Walmack or a grave, so... You got the rest of your airborne career to unfuck yourself. I'm just saying. Take that however you want. That another one here. Let's see, hang on. Got another soldier asking some good questions. Hey, Sergeant Popp, I like the stories about jumping, but do you have any funny stories of antics that happened at the range? Yes, I do. That's a whole other class of videos. I got some damn good, crazy bullshit that went on at the ranges, especially the SF ranges, because they're hilarious. But we'll get to that later. You're putting the horse before the cart. Again, I mentioned the 82nd Airborne Division, and they're a whole different animal. Now, I saw some of their crazy-ass jumps, and I don't know what they called it, today, and I don't know if they're allowed to do this now. You're not really allowed to do it at all, but back in the late 70s and the 80s, this happened once in a while, where these guys would hook up in the bird. Instead of the paratrooper hooking up to the cable inside the bird, he would hand it to his buddy in front of him, and they would tie it to his H harness. Then he would get real close to the guy in front of him, and they would jump out the bird. And the first guy's parachute would open, and then the second guy would continue falling, and his chute would open at the end of his fall. So basically, you got one guy open and another guy open right underneath him. I only saw, I think they called it a dongle. I don't know. I saw it with just one guy doing it. But I've heard stories of 3 and 4, and you have them just go, and some guys would open real close to the ground. And no wonder they can't go 82 days without killing somebody. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. But that just leads into the next story about the 82nd Airborne Division. All right, now, if you watch Lord of the Rings, and I was watching the second one where the orcs are attacking that big keep that's against a mountain or whatever, and they're all hiding in there. And then there's that one scene where all the orcs march up, and they're all quiet, and they're just standing there waiting to attack. And I remember I was looking at the movie, and I'm like, those guys... That's the 82nd Airborne Division. I mean, they just don't give a fuck, and they just do what they gotta do. I mean, it was hilarious. So I had to do 2 pay-hurt jumps with the 82nd Airborne Division. They have down at the Green Ramp is what they call it. They had a big accident there a few years ago where a C-130 crashed in there and burned a bunch of guys up. But that's a whole other story. I had a couple of my Ranger buddies there. got burned up, not real bad, but they got burned up okay, which means they healed up and they continued on and finished their careers. But it's neither here nor there. Okay, so I went down to SFAS, and I got there a week early, and I was a pay hurt. And, you know, you have your hazardous duty orders with you. And back in the day, it really wasn't that hard to, you know, get a jump on like a Saturday or a Friday. They had the pay hurt jumps. And I had a combat school from Panama, so I didn't have to wait in any lines. They came out, and they're walking down the line. They see me, they're like, hey, Ranger, what are you doing down here? I'm like, I tell them, like, hey, I'm going selection. I'm a pay hurt. I need to get a jump in. And they're like, oh, okay. So I don't know who these guys were. They're 82nd guys, and they go up and, you know, talk to some people, and they come back in the middle of the line and just pluck me out and walk me up there and put me on the stick. Now all these guys, these weren't like your standard like white dudes. Okay, there wasn't any scraggly guys there. They're all like over 5'11" to 6'4", just huge, corn-fed, Midwest, dumb motherfuckers. Every one of them had a big dip in their mouth, and they just walked around and doing nothing. So I'm like, okay. So we go through the pre-jump and do the whole fucking deal, put on our shit, get on the bird, and I'm like a second from the end. And I didn't really know this at the time, but I think they in fact, I know they purposely put me at that place in the stick because I was between two of the biggest guys. They fucking, like, the light turns green, we're going for the door, and then they start slowing down. And I'm like, holy fuck, we're not going to make the light. Oh my God, And just before it goes red, you know, we all go out. Now, these guys have done a lot of jumps, I could tell, because they totally fucking set me up. So my chute opens, you know, I check everything, and I'm looking at my stuff. Now, this is a Hollywood jump. I don't have any combat equipment. It's you know, it's just a pay hurt jump. You have to jump every 90 days, so they take back your jump pay. So, you know, by the time I get myself unfucked, I look up, and this one guy's coming right at me. And I'm like, hey, slip away. Hey! This guy hits my parachute, like, right on the level, comes up, and, like, donkey kicks me in the chest. Like, boom, knocks the wind out of me. I'm like, ah! And then he pulls off and slips away laughing. And I'm like, you fucking cock! They were just fucking with me. Just totally fucking with me. And then, you know, I'm coming down, you know, I get done, I'm breathing, I'm like maybe 200 or 300 feet looking for a landing, and this one dude comes in there and he's trying to steal my air, like, oh my God, you know. I'm slipping away. I'm like, those fucking cocks. So I land, I'm all fucked up. It wasn't too bad of a landing, but it could have been way worse if he stole my air. But these guys were trying to fuck me up. I mean, that's the only way I could explain it. Who karate chops a man in a parachute on the way down? If that's not intentional, I don't know what the fuck is. But they played it off well on the ground because I'm all pissed off. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just an E5. I mean, who am I going to yell at, really? And they're like, oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, these things happen. You know, it's a weird wind Yeti thing. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. You guys are fucking with a regiment guy. You got me, you fucking assholes. We get back on the cattle car, and we roll back after we turned our shoes. I hung out with those guys that night. We drank beer, and we were fucking around. And yeah, they were fucking with me. They just laughed about it. They fucking enjoyed fucking with the Ranger. But, you know, good on them, bad on me. I should have been wiser, but luckily they didn't fucking kill me. Second time. It was about a little less than a year later. I'm on my way to go. I made it through the selection. I'm going to the Q course. Again, I get there. I'm a pay hurt. Had my hazardous duty orders. I hand everything off to the SFAS, and that's a whole different animal. The Special Forces guys, like literally, they come out on a set like, "Hey, Pop, man, if you're a pay hurt, they're doing some jumps down there. You know, you might want to get on that." So I'm like, okay, same thing. I go down there, sign in, show my hazardous duty orders. Go through the pre-jump, and this took a little bit longer. I didn't really get onto a chalk until, I would say 6:30ish, 6:30 at night. So technically, it was just about to go dark-ish, by the time we got over the drop zone. These 82nd guys, they weren't fucking around. You know, this was like beyond not funny. So, you know, we get the green light, we're going for the door, and like the one guy like stumbles and falls down, and he gets up, and there's like some people tripping around, it's all fucked up, you know, and I get there, and the guy in front of me, I see the light go red, so we're on a red light, we're not supposed to go. He fucking, you know, goes, jumps out, and then the guy's pushing me from behind, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and I get pushed out in the red light. And what the red light means is you're no longer over the drop zone officially, okay? The green light is only green when you're over the designated drop zone where there's like no trees and it's, you know, cleared and surveyed and it's supposedly safe. When you go out the bird on a red light, you're fucking in no man's land. So my chute fucking opens. You know, I think we're like 1,500 feet. We're jumping a little bit on the high side, and I look and I can see the drop zone. And I look down and I'm over fucking trees. And then there's a 2-lane fucking road and there's cars going around. And then there's a fucking 3-line power line. I'm like, oh my God, I am so fucked. So what do? I'm like, okay. Reach up there, 1, 2, 3. And I start diving for the fucking drop zone. And I am trading altitude for speed because I'm trying to traverse as much fucking space as I can to make it to the drop zone. And like literally, I'm like, I milk it all the way in. Like, I'm maybe just above tree top level. And I'm like, I can make it. I had to lift my legs up, right? And then the tree hit me in the ass when I went over. Boom, boom, boom. And then I literally released the fucking slip. Got in PLF position, boom, landed, I was fine. The guy who went out behind me and the guy behind him landed it, I don't know, out there in fucking, I got fucked land out there somewhere. I went, got my shit, turned it in, reported it to the fucking chute collection point. That 2 guys behind me went out in the red light and I barely made it to the drop zone. And there was a couple guys that were already on the ground watching this whole fucking thing who were on the stick before me. And they actually came up and said, holy shit, Popp. How the fuck did you do that? That was amazing. You held that fucking slip all the way. I thought you were going to ride it into the ground. Holy shit. I'm glad you didn't break your back. I came this fucking close. But like I said, tree landings are a fucking bad thing. And you try to avoid them if you can. So those are my 2 jumps to the 82nd Airborne Division. And they were not fun. Okay, now, I believe we did, when I was in the regiment, we jumped into Bragg, and we were on the drop zone, you know, and we'd finished our sticks, and we were packing up our stuff. 82nd came in to do a mass tack, and I think they had like 4 or 6 birds, I don't remember. And they're just throwing people out of the bird. Both doors, asses over elbows. I mean, it's like some shit out of World War II. People are fucking just, the sky is full of chutes. And then it starts to rain rucksacks and helmets and weapons cases. I mean, I'm out there picking up my shit and you hear, poof, holy fuck, dude, there's a helmet. There's a weapons case. I'm like, oh, fuck this. I literally like backpedaled about 200 meters in the wood line, waited for them to fucking come down and unfuck themselves, and then went and fucking picked up my shit and left. Okay, and then there's another one, and this was later on when I was with the 425, the National Guard unit, airborne unit out of Michigan back in the day. Again, I don't know who did the deconflicting on the drop zone. But we jumped in to, I don't remember what the DC on Bragg was. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. This is one of the bigger ones. This is where they did the heavy drops. So we're on the drop zone. I have my parachute kit bag. I just, you know, put my main canopy in there, and I hook up the reserve, and I put it over my head. And then this truck comes out with a big megaphone on it, and they're screaming, get off the drop zone. They're doing a heavy drop. So I'm like, holy fuck, I look up there, and literally, they're pushing out fucking cannons and vehicles and pallets and shit with these huge fucking parachutes. Listen, if you're stuck on the drop zone during a heavy drop, the only option that you have is to get the fuck off the drop zone. So I just fucking said, fuck it, Again, I ran in the wood line and ran a good 200 or 300 more meters just to make sure I didn't get, squished like a bug or had an argument with physics because somebody dropped a pallet on fucking dumbass Popp out there, because gravity always works and I don't want to test it. So that's what happened there. All right, I think that's all we got tonight for the 82nd Airborne Division. Any of you soldiers out there got any questions for me, go ahead and send them to me and I'll see if I can answer them on air. I'm sure I got a lot of wisdom that applies to even today, even though I read some of your fucking pussy-ass fucking manuals, and compared to the manuals of yesterday, fucking it's like pillow fighting, goddammit, bunch of pussies. Because like it or not, I'm now the old guy. And the old guy's job is to help the young guy so he can become the old guy. And you become the old, salty, scary dog, and the guy everyone says is creepy and they avoid. One day, if you stay in the Army long enough, that'll be you. Anyway, you have a good evening, and I'll talk to you later. Out.